Take a look at what The Hill is reporting about the war machine in the U.S. Defense Secretary Mattis urges Senate not to cut off support for Saudi Arabia in war against Yemen. Okay, whoa, that is incredibly extreme. The fact that he said that is honestly mind-boggling because of what that implies. That implies some really, really, really terrible stuff about us. So for those of you who don't know what's currently going on in Yemen, it's a disaster. It's a disaster. Right now there's a blockade of the country. Literally millions of people have cholera, and they're not allowing in the medicine that would help them. You also have people starving to death. Again, the blockade is preventing food from getting into Yemen. So there are people who are starving to death. Now, on top of that, thousands of people have been killed in bombings. And Saudi Arabia is indiscriminate. They're going after mosques. They're going after hospitals and schools and open-air markets. And they've even attacked a school for the blind. So this is, really it's a genocide going on in Yemen. People try to, be hesitant and, no, don't use that word, that's too strong. No, it's exactly what it is. They are purposefully targeting civilians. That's what they're doing. And they're doing it in a variety of ways, and the U.S. is arming them. We're giving them illegal cluster bombs under international law. They're illegal. So this is just, it's unbelievable. Now, he sent a letter to some senators because Bernie proposed a bill that ends our involvement in Yemen. And in fact, Bernie actually got some Republican support on this bill as well. But here's what Mattis said in that letter to the Senate. New restrictions on this limited U.S. military support could increase civilian casualties, jeopardize cooperation with our partners on counterterrorism, and reduce our influence with the Saudis, all of which would further exacerbate the situation and humanitarian crisis. Oh, is that rich? So first of all, there's an admission buried in there. He says, it's going to reduce our influence with the Saudis. Yeah, it might reduce your influence with them if you stop arming them and helping them commit a genocide. They might be a little mad at you if you back out as their partner in crime and committing a genocide and massacring women and children. Think about the warped logic there. Like, oh, we don't want to lose. See, that proves it's all about the business ties. What are we going to do? Sure, they do fucked up things, but who doesn't do fucked up things? And if we don't help them in this, then maybe it'll hurt our business relationship. Man, so in other words, the point that the left has been making forever, which is when we use military power, it has nothing to do with human rights and being the world police. It has to do with maintaining our business relationships, and it has to do with natural resources, and it has to do with power and control, and maintaining our position as the world's sole superpower. This is an admission of that. That's an admission. Oh, we wouldn't want to reduce our influence with the Saudis. There is another way to influence them. You know that, right? You could sanction them. You could say, okay, you're massacring women and children, now we sanction you. But they're not going to do that because for strategic reasons, working with the Saudis is off the table. We can't not do it for strategic reasons. So in other words, business and the status quo overrides the lives of innocent people being massacred in Yemen. We got you. And it says we could jeopardize cooperation with our partners on counterterrorism. Well, we know that Saudi Arabia is arming Sunni militias on the ground in Yemen. Many of those Sunni militias are Al-Qaeda. So you're not jeopardizing counterterrorism. You would be freeing yourself up to actually counter the terrorists. You're de facto aligned with Al-Qaeda right now. So that's a problem. You could not do that. But of course, no, because again, it's not really about fighting terrorism. This is all the bullshit fairy tales they tell you that they hope you fall for. And then, they say could increase civilian casualties. It could increase civilian casualties if you stop massacring civilians with Saudi Arabia. Please, Orwell hears that and he's like, "Yep, that's me. That's exactly the kind of doublespeak that I would expect." So it's just disgusting that we're doing this. And there's always, listen, every empire ever has just a fucking wagon load of rationalizations that they drag along with them as they commit atrocities throughout the world. And that's not my opinion, that's a historical fact. Every empire ever thought they had a civilizing mission. And what we're doing is we're making the world a better place for the proper values, and the world is better with us in this position. But no, at the end of the day, when you take a step back and you observe these things objectively, it's easy to see that we're partaking in a massacre, in a genocide. And then when a few people of conscience stand up to say, let's stop doing that, the fangs come out. And I want to read you this comment one more time because there's so many truths embedded here. New restrictions on this limited, they say, U.S. military support could increase civilian casualties, jeopardize cooperation with our partners on counterterrorism, and reduce our influence with the Saudis, all of which would further exacerbate the situation and humanitarian crisis. So we have to continue to facilitate the genocide, because if we don't do that, the genocide will get worse. Wow. So shame on Mattis, shame on Trump, shame on our entire goddamn system in this military-industrial complex. We need to unravel the empire, and we need to actually give a shit about human rights.